What is up, everybody? Welcome to the latest installment of It Came from the Web, my new podcast series where I explore the dark corners of the internet and share what I find are some of the most fun and compelling pieces of paranormal goodness that people are putting out there. This is very much a companion show to Don't Turn Around in the sense that these stories are being contributed to the internet by everyday people like you or me. Now, this is much a show where I lean in to the magic of the paranormal, where I very much want to believe. And that is not to say that I don't explore these pieces of evidence that people are sharing, not through the eye of a skeptic, but very much through the eye of a skeptic. But at the same time, I want to believe, and I hope you want to believe too. This is a show about the magic of the paranormal. Thank you very much for joining tonight. Thank you to the Don't Turn Around community. Thank you for all of you that are leaving the show reviews. Reviews help get the show out to all the ears and all the eyes out there. This is a space for stories, of course, and stories need an audience. And by leaving those wonderful reviews and those ratings, that enables these stories to get out to more ears out there. So I'm very happy to have you all here. It's been quite a busy day for me here in the podcasting world. This is my third recording session today. And so hopefully I'm not going to get too scattered as we progress through sharing these little stories that I've pulled up for you guys tonight. So let's get right into it. And as I have started doing, I share a little bit of my own paranormal videos and sound bites because I want to also contribute to the goodness that is out there on the internet and get out the stuff that is compelling, the stuff that is not faked, the stuff that is real, actual occurrences from being out and investigating. I was going to go a different direction this week, but I received quite a few direct messages in regards to Daniels, Maryland, one of my favorite locations, the haunted ghost town in Ellicott City, Maryland, where I've had a number of incredible experiences. I had a viewer recently write me asking, well, do you have any videos where you have devices going off at Daniels, Maryland? And in fact, I do. There's one that I'm going to share with you all here tonight that is features two of my favorite devices. One, the Dead Bell, which is manufactured by Ghost Stop, and two, which is the REM Pod, which you can also purchase through Ghost Stop. I'll make sure to post links through the show. And just know that Old Spirits Investigations is a Ghost Stop affiliate. So if you swing by Old Spirits Investigations, check out any of the videos there. You'll find a link to our Ghost Stop affiliate. What's a Ghost Stop affiliate link? And you can use that link and you can go on the paranormal shopping spree of your dream. I'm happy to report that it seems that Instagram Live is now working once again. So if you are joining from Instagram for the first time, thank you so much for swinging by. It came from the web. Glad to have you. Glad to see that Instagram is up and running. So, with all of that chit chat out of the way, let's get into the first clip, which is a clip from Daniels, Maryland, that was recorded actually this past early spring, where we went up and took our daughters and their friends to be able to experience Daniels, Maryland for themselves. This is video recorded in the abandoned St. Stanislaus Church, which is a spot in Daniels, Maryland, where we have had probably the most activity. I do want to point out before I show this video, which does feature the REM pod going off along with Dead Bell. I've had the REM pod out in different spots in Daniels where it has not reacted at all to the location. In this video, in this spot, you'll see the REM pod going off, and consistently we've had the REM pod show activity in the ruins of this church. So I'll leave the meaning of that open to your interpretation, but let's go ahead and let's jump into this clip. Make sure I've got audio shared here. Okay.
I've never really heard it go off like that before. Can you step away for a second? Just for a really quick second. Yeah, just step away, please. Because then we can see if we can help you with it.
Just in case, I want to make sure it's not the dead bell interacting with it.
Yeah, oh, that'd be funny if it is. Nope. Wait, put it back. You're gonna be mad that you took it.
Okay, put it back. Put the bell back. Sorry. Because that's me touching it. It just mimicked what I did. So why don't we watch that one more time? Because you can hear the excitement in my voice. This was pretty astounding. Now, as I mentioned, it has gone off here before, but that was like, you could hear it's going nuts, and it has never quite gone off so wildly before. And only on several key investigations has the REM pod been really so excited. What was really fascinating too was, you'll see I grab the antenna at one point to see if I can kind of reset it or interact with it in a way that'll make it stop going off. And shortly thereafter, it mimics that exact sound. It's this sort of high pitch rising tone, which indicates something is very close, if not touching that antenna. So let's give that another watch. I've never really heard it go off like that before. You hear the dead bell go off.
For a second? Just for a really quick second. Yeah, just step away, please. Because then we can see if we can help you with it.
Just in case, I want to make sure it's not the dead bell interacting with it.
Yeah, oh, that'd be funny if it is. Nope. Wait, put it back. You're gonna be mad that you took it.
Okay, put it back. Put the bell back. Sorry. Because that's me touching it. It just mimicked what I did. Yeah, that was wild. That's one of my favorite clips from an investigation is the dead bell going nuts like that. And again, that was recent. That was just this past spring. And boy, it was a cold spring day. Everyone was a real trooper to be out there. And it's important to note too, that is one of my favorite times to do the wilderness investigations or to go pay a visit to the battlefields in Gettysburg. There are benefits if you're thinking of investigating out in the wilds, going to very popular spots like Gettysburg. We call the winter months from about November through about March. This is the paranormal investigator season, because you don't have a lot of the crowds, and you don't also have the sounds of the insects and the general ambience of nature that does tend to interfere with your results out in the field. So if you're thinking of doing a wilderness investigation, you might want to consider going out in the winter. Now, that's not to say that I avoid going spots in the summer. I do firmly believe that just the life in these spaces in the summer, be it from all the foliage and the trees and the flowers blooming and the insects, I do truly believe that life energy does feed the paranormal. Makes it harder to collect evidence. Yes, I will 100% admit to that, but at the same time, does not mean that you are unable to have a personal experience. Okay, the next thing I want to share is a bit of a follow-up. So if you recall, several weeks ago, I had guest Liz Pardo on the show. It was titled "When the Car Shut Off," where she shared the story of her and her friends and their friend's parent had an experience with their car parked on the train tracks in Pennsylvania, where it was said that a vehicle had been hit by the train many years previously. And the urban legend was that if you drive up onto the train tracks at midnight, your car will turn off, and then something will try to push your car off the track. And they put baby powder on the back of the car to do this grand experiment. And much to everyone's surprise, the car actually turned off. But it gets more wild. They get out of the car and they see handprints on the back of the car. Liz recently sent me a recording of a phone call that one of her friends had with the dad that had been out there, and and I believe the mother was also on this phone call talking about this story. And it was so cool to get to hear them actually firsthand recounting this experience, which was right in line with what Liz had shared. It was really exciting. I have hopes that maybe I can either share this phone call on an upcoming episode of It Came From the Web, or perhaps have Liz back on, talk about this again, or to get that family on the show. So fingers crossed, keep you posted. Keep your eyes on Instagram at Don't Turn Around Podcast to see what happens. But what I do have to share here is the newspaper article. There's a newspaper article about the accident that Liz sent along to me to be able to share here on the show tonight. So I'm going to go ahead and share that with all of you. Yes. Okay, so let's give this a read. Death toll reaches 7 as only 2 survivors of East Bethany accident die. This is Botvia, March 5th. Death in St. Jerome's Hospital today of the only 2 survivors of a Saturday night crossing crash in East Bethany brought to 7 the toll of dead in a tragedy that wiped out an entire family and 3 of its kin. 7-year-old John Barry, whose parents and sister were instantly killed, died shortly after 7 o'clock tonight, after physicians had given him only a fighting chance to live. His cousin, Louise Morgan, 9, whose mother lost her life in the crash, died at 2 o'clock this morning, less than 5 hours after Delaware, Lackawanna, and Western Flyer demolished the party's automobile at East Bethany Grade. And we won't get into the rest of the article here, but this, and you'll hear me talk about this, does speak to the gravity of these tragedies, and does speak to why it's so important to approach investigations with respect, especially at a location like this. We're dealing with lives that were tragically lost, and if we do believe that these spirits are there, they are spirits of actual human beings that had lives that were cut short. And that's why at Old Spirits, our main tenet and intention when we go out and investigate is to go out with as much respect and wholehearted intention of telling these stories as possible. And I would never have known about this story had Liz not gone out and had this experience, and had she not shared it on the show. And so that gets back to the tenet of Don't Turn Around, of It Came From the Web, is to tell these stories that might otherwise be forgotten. So Liz, thank you so much for sharing this article with myself and with the Don't Turn Around community. It's pretty exciting to see the correlation between the actual event, the handprints of different sizes on the car, and this newspaper article. Okay, next little tidbit that I'm going to share with you all is a photograph. So let's go ahead and let's get that pulled up. Okay, so this is Ghost of a Miner's Wife, and let's go ahead and zoom in. So this is from our favorite Ring doorbell cameras, which I do love that we're seeing more and more footage from Ring doorbell cameras and other doorbell and garage cameras submitted. Now, granted, they're not the best quality, and they're not the best cameras, but at the same time, what I love about it is that it's this, it gives emphasis to the concept that spirits are all around us at all times. And capturing these things on these doorbell cameras really does lend credence to that we capture these spirits when we least expect them, if it is to be believed that's what we're capturing. So the caption says, In early February 2025, a Ring doorbell camera in Staffordshire captured what appeared to be a tall woman dressed in 1940s clothing walking past a neighbor's house, only to seemingly vanish into thin air. The footage was shared by the neighbor Carrie Ann Dochi, but the passerby, 55-year-old Jackie Batt, said she didn't recall seeing anyone and believed it could be the ghost of a miner's wife. The home was built in the 1940s for miners, lending credence to the supernatural theory, though skeptics have suggested it may simply be a camera, excuse me. Like I said, I've been talking all day. May simply be a camera glitch or a signal dropout. Now, unfortunately, and I just liked it. This is not a video. I'll have to see if I could find the video for a subsequent show. But here we see this smudge here. That could be a person walking by, could be a ghost walking by, could be a camera glitch. It's hard to make out the vintage clothing as it was mentioned, but again, like I mentioned, I am a fan of seeing things from Ring doorbell cameras. Maybe it's just the weirdo in me. All right, up next. Let's see what we got here for you guys. Okay, I believe it is this one. Is it? It's all the way at the end. I don't know why. Okay, here we go. Let's pause this. So this is from Reddit. This is a friend captured this in her living room last night. So we've got this little doggy sleeping on the rug, perfectly content. Why don't we zoom in here? Okay. Oh, that looks good. That's nice and big. Yeah. So for those of you that are listening to the show that are not watching it on YouTube, this is from a indoor security camera. You've got a cute dog that is just laying on the rug, minding its own business. Now let's hit play. Now you see something kind of moving around here. The dog gets up, walks off. Let's keep watching. And then we got this going on. All right, let's bring that back and watch it again. Now I've told you can see something in the background here as well, kind of toward the kitchen area. And I don't know if it's that orb that appears off to the side. But there's definitely something that seems to be moving around right here. And the dog definitely seems spooked. Dog gets up and slowly makes an exit, like it's saying, nope, whatever's going on here, I don't want anything to do with. And then we've got some other stuff moving around in this camera. I'd be curious to see if they've seen other similar things in this camera, or if it's just that. Let's see if we can watch that one more time. You know what? Why don't we take a look at the comments too? Because the comments can be funny. The dog was like, hell nah. He looked at the camera like, y'all seeing this shit? But the dog was not frightened, so that's pointing to a benevolent ghost. I think I have something in my house, but doesn't set off my cat, so I just ignore the signs. And this person says, I wouldn't trust that to be an indicator. My dog would befriend a bear that's foaming at the mouth or a robber breaking in. He would absolutely befriend Casper if it promised him a pet or a treat. You know what I like about these comments? You know what I like about them is that they're positive. They're positive. I think you tend to get a lot of, there's no thinking about it. You tend to get a lot of toxicity on the internet, but it's nice to see some positive comments on someone's post. What a cute dog, too, right? Now, I'm going to back it up for a second here. So, what's interesting is it's almost, what's the dog move? It moves with the dog. So, could that be an artifact from the from the camera processing the dog itself. And then you could think about it another way too. It almost looks like whatever might be here is following the dog. Like, hey, where you going, dog? So, what do you think? Do you think this camera captured an entity? I would love, love, love beyond anything to know what you think about it. And guess what? There's a place you can do that. You see that comment section below? You can drop a comment in there and let me know. Do you think this person captured a ghost on their security cam? Do you think it was just a glitch? Have you caught anything on your security cams that you think should be part of this show, that you want me to contribute to the paranormal evidence that is on the internet? You can reach me at don't DTA podcast info. See, I almost messed that up. You can reach me at DTA podcast info at gmail.com. And again, I gotta apologize for being a little slap happy tonight. Like I said, it's been a long day of recording. Okay. Hey. Pretty cool though. Pretty cool stuff. All right, let's get to the next bit here, and let's see if I can find it without any ads showing up. All these ads, I'll tell you, they're they're plentiful. All right, this is pretty cool. Now, I will share this with the caveat that I've been watching a lot of ancient alien documentaries here. And this is not new news. This is old news, but just something that I think is very cool. This is the mysterious Japanese Atlantis that still baffles scientists. Now, let's see if we can make this image larger before we read the article. And we can. So just take a look at this structure. This is clearly not a natural structure. This is on the ocean floor. You get a sense of scale from looking at the diver. Look how precise these lines are. So I think we can agree, not a natural structure. But let's see what the article has to say about it. Monumental underwater rock formation sparks debate among scientists about its origin. Some believe it was built, while others claim it was shaped by tectonic activity, which is possible. Just 25 meters below the crystal clear waters surrounding Japan's Yonaguni Island lies a spectacle that challenges the boundaries of conventional archaeology. A massive sandstone structure measuring 100 meters by 40 meters and standing about 25 meters tall rises in perfect giant steps with straight edges and ramps that look like they were taken from a model of an ancient city. Could the ruins of an unknown civilization or simply an extraordinary rock formation? The discovery became known as the Japanese Atlantis. This site was first found in 1986 when diving instructor Kichiro Aratake was exploring the area located about 100 kilometers east of Taiwan in search of new underwater attractions for tourists. As he approached, he encountered gigantic stone structures that immediately reminded him of archaeological constructions. Surprised, Aratake alerted researchers at the University of Ryu. This is not what something that is not something I should be reading after this long day. University of Ryukyus marked the beginning of the legend of the Japanese Atlantis in reference to the island mentioned in Plato's works. Look at this. I mean, this is amazing. Now, I'm probably never going to scuba dive because it terrifies me, the concept, but boy, would I like to see this firsthand. One of the main proponents of the human origin hypothesis is Masaki Kimura, emeritus professor of geophysics at the University of Ryukyus, who spent decades studying the site. Kimura has no doubts. To him, what lies beneath the sea are the remains of an ancient city, possibly built by the Jomon people more than 10,000 years ago, when the region was still above sea level due to lower sea levels at the time. Later, Kimura revised his estimate to somewhere between 2,000 and 3,000 years old, according to the science website IFL Science. I'm not going to say that bad word. I immediately thought of the pyramids and felt like I was in ancient Egypt, said the professor in a documentary cited by the German newspaper. We're not going to even try reading that. As evidence of its artificial origin, Chimera claims to have identified marks on the stones and rocks that appear to have been carved into the shapes of animals. That's amazing. Let's take another look at this. It's remarkable to see these ancient structures that were built thousands of years ago, ostensibly by humans. But I think it is worth considering the theories that maybe we had assistance in building these things. Maybe there were other beings that came to this planet that built these structures. I mean, what do you guys think? Is it possible that human hands alone didn't build these monumental structures? I don't know. Like I said, I've been watching a lot of the ancient aliens shows lately, and it does make you think. I mean, anything is possible. All right. Why don't we keep it to Reddit for the time being? And I've got another Reddit post that I would like to share. Mm. This is entitled, I think I experienced a glitch. Something really weird happened this morning. I can't explain it, and I'm not sure if our paranormal is even the right place to post this, but here we are. I got up at 7:30 a.m. and started my day. I picked out the clothes I wanted to wear, made myself a cup of tea, and hopped under the shower. When I got out, I checked the time and realized it was already 7:53 a.m. I panicked a bit because I needed to be out of the house at 8:15. So I got dressed and made my makeup. I listened to music on my headphones. In the meantime, I listened to at least 7 or 8 songs, important information for later. After I was ready, I went into the kitchen to quickly feed my dog. I was just about filling up his bowl when I looked up to check the time on my kitchen clock. According to that clock, it was only 7:55 a.m. I stopped what I was doing, grabbed my phone to confirm the time, and my phone also says 7:55 a.m. So only 2 minutes have passed. But that's not possible. In those 2 minutes, I've made myself ready, made my makeup, listened to several songs all over 2 minutes long, fed my dog. After that, I felt pretty off. Has anybody experienced something similar? Hmm. What do you think? Sounds to me like, well, the first question I would ask is what did the clock in your bedroom say versus the clock in your kitchen? And I'm going to guess that this person probably did at some point verify that the times on the clocks were aligned. So maybe they experienced a time slip. Time is a funny thing. Time is a funny thing. I think we can all agree that we have moments where 5 minutes can feel like 50 minutes and where an hour can feel like 5 minutes. And I think it's a matter of perception, right? So we are, as humans, time is a construct. Time is the concept of time, and the passage of time is linked very closely to how we are experiencing each moment. But then when you get into a scenario where someone is doing all these different steps and to see that only a few minutes have gone by, I don't know what to make of it. I don't know what to make of it. It could be that they experienced a time slip. It could have been a glitch. If you subscribe to simulations theory, then maybe it was a glitch in the matrix. Either way, found it pretty spooky and pretty compelling. I would love to know if they experienced anything since then. So this was only posted just a couple days ago, I'm now seeing. So I would love it if this person posted again if they experienced something else. But that's pretty wild. Have any of you ever experienced any strange time slips like that? Now I have experienced something similar, right? So as I was just talking on a recording for Paranormal Girl Pod, which is a show that I'm going to be appearing on here not too long from now. I was talking about my experience at the TWA Flight 514 crash site where it was nighttime and T. Morris and I were doing our nighttime investigation. And we were convinced that we had been out there 30, 45 minutes and only 13 minutes had passed. Now, granted, we didn't see any visual evidence on our watches of any of this. We weren't paying attention to our watches. We were just paying attention to the investigation. It was the time tracking on the recorder that told us that we had only been out there for that very brief period of time. But similar to the Reddit posters experience, we had to walk out to the clearing. I started the recorder before we got to the clearing. We had to set up all our gear. Then we asked a number of questions. We waited around in the dark for responses. So it felt like we were packing in more activity in there than just 13 minutes worth of activity. So maybe I did experience a time glitch like this Reddit poster. Okay, up next, our favorite cryptid, Bigfoot, has made another appearance on the internet. This time, according to my notes, in lovely Colorado. So why don't we go ahead and share that clip? All right, here we go. All right, I'm going to zoom in. Actually, I'm going to refresh this too so it starts from the beginning. Here we go. Let's see. Definitely blended in with the environment there. I like how he just kind of sits down. I don't know. It could very well be someone in a suit, or it could be Bigfoot himself. What's interesting to me is how well camouflaged this figure is with the background. Very almost like a little bit of a predator effect, right? And how well they blend in with the environment. I don't know. It's pretty cool. It's pretty cool. But again, could be a hoax. I don't know. I don't know, but I did like that one. So just because of that, we're going to watch it one more time. There he goes. Oh, I better sit down and pretend I'm a rock so this train can't see me. Hate to break it to you. We saw you. Because I think that's what, I think they said on a scenic train ride. Okay. So it was on a train and you can tell there is some good distance. Is it possible to see the movement of the train? I mean, they are moving slowly in one direction. You can kind of see almost around where this thing is. And they say, hey, it could be a suited hunter. I don't know. Or it could be Bigfoot. I want to think it's Bigfoot. So why don't we go with, yeah, it's Bigfoot. Oh, Bigfoot. I can't seem to quit you. My perception, my belief in Bigfoot has changed quite a bit over the years. Initially, I always thought of Bigfoot as maybe just another primate, but thanks to Timothy Renner and the Strange Familiars podcast and his incredible books on the subject, I do wonder if Bigfoot is much more of a supernatural entity than just an animal. Is Bigfoot a transdimensional being? It's interesting that Bigfoot sightings are often, while you don't always hear about it, often seem to be accompanied by other paranormal phenomena, UFO sightings, orbs, even ghosts. So definitely always am interested when I see Bigfoot footage pop up and will continue to show what I find to be fun Bigfoot footage here on the show. Have you had any encounters with Bigfoot? You know where the comments are. So leave me a note or shoot me a note at dtapodcastinfo@gmail.com. If you're just tuning in, thank you so much for joining us on episode 4 of It Came from the Web. I'm Phil Rossi, and tonight I'm sharing some fun clips from the dark corners of the internet that have only the spooky goodness to offer. Okay, time for another clip, and I can't believe how long we've been going here. The show's been rolling along. Thank you again so much for joining us. Thank you so much for subscribing to Don't Turn Around. If you're listening to this on the Don't Turn Around podcast feed, I appreciate you. If you want to see this, well, this is also available on YouTube. And if you're watching on YouTube, make sure to hit the like button, the subscribe button, and to enable notifications so you know when more content like this is dropping. We're getting down to our last few clips. So the next clip I'm going to show is entitled Ghost in the Graveyard. And this is another clip found on Instagram. Okay. So we're going to reload. We're going to zoom in. What's along this side of the screen where I'm pointing? Right there. And there it is again. Now you see some blinking lights there. That could be fireflies, likely fireflies, because you see a lot of foliage. So I'm assuming this is a bright time of day. Very peculiar, though, the way it moves. Now you see some what could be camera glitches up over here that seem similar to what's in this video. And if you're listening to it, it's almost like a white mist that manifests and shifts over toward the left-hand side of the screen. Firefly. You see a little bit of it there. Keep watching. There it is again. Yeah, I guess it's a little different from some of the other lighter colored glitches. And then it goes that way. Now, granted, the quality of the footage is pretty dismal, but it almost has a human-like shape to it. What's interesting is it seems to do the same movement, right? Kind of same shifting over movement a couple times. So it does make you wonder if they captured something residual on their camera. It's pretty cool, though. It's pretty cool. I do wonder if they saw it with their own eyes or if they saw this through the viewfinder in the camera. But wait for it. Wait for it. Wait for it. There we go. It starts off here and then it shifts over. Could be a bug on the lens. Could be a ghost. Because then you see something on that side and they quickly pan back over to try to capture it, but it's gone. Boom. I don't know. Let's say ghost. Okay, up next. All right, this is not so much this is not so much as paranormal as it is macabre and weird. And this was found on Facebook. Let's see. Nope. Here we go. So this is the corpse of Anna Maria von Stockhausen, bound to prevent her rising from the dead. She was accused of being a witch and a vampire during the Middle Ages in the time of the Black Plague. It is said that she returned from the dead 6 times. First, she was hanged, only to claw her way out of the grave. The townspeople captured her in a nearby village and quickly drowned her in a lake, tying her to a plank. Her lifeless body was retrieved multiple times from the water and reburied, only for the grave to be found empty 2 days later. They say her decomposing body was seen moving around her old home, dripping with worms, dirt, and water. She was dragged out again, a stake driven through her heart, and buried once more. A guard was posted at her grave, and it seemed she was finally gone. But when the guard didn't return to the village for 4 days, a local priest went looking and found his rotting corpse near the post, his throat torn out and chewed. Anna had vanished again. She was finally tracked and captured near the edge of town. A furious crowd burned her at the stake, tying her to a scarecrow in a cornfield, but a sudden storm extinguished the flames, burning only her lower half. The tale caught the attention of a vampire hunter and religious fanatic. He approached this tormented woman, witnessed the storm, and said, "God must have other plans for you." Unlike the others, he bowed and asked, "Woman, why don't you go to your death?" A shrill, raspy voice answered she had cursed the villagers for accusing her. Anna begged to be buried elsewhere, far from where the villagers kept laying her to rest. It was a simple request, but she warned that if they didn't honor it, she would keep returning. No man or force could stop her from spilling the blood of everyone in the village. So they did as she asked, and the rest is history. That's a wild story and an equally wild image. Look at that. Man, the Middle Ages were some crazy, crazy times. Mm. Reminds me a little bit of Rasputin, right? The constantly rising from the grave. I mean, they had to, as the story goes, they had to kill Rasputin several times before he finally succumbed. So, what's to say that this wasn't a similar occurrence? But either way, it's pretty awesome folklore and pretty morbid too. What else do we have here tonight? Okay, here's another. This is a brief one. This is one of those things that makes you go, hmm. Again, this is Facebook. And this is a short one. Charles Peck died on impact in a train collision in 2008. Mysteriously, his loved ones received 35 calls from his phone after the crash, only to hear static on the other end. Spooky. Makes me think of the Stephen King story, Mr. Harrigan's Phone. I'm not going to give any spoilers, but it's a similar concept. Where do you stand on that? The phone calls from the grave. It's a spooky concept. It's a spooky concept for sure. I mean, when you think about it, think about, are the deceased calling from their phone? I mean, I know it sounds kind of silly. Are they picking up the phone and dialing us and giving us a call? Or is that sort of their intention to contact us is being projected into that medium the of the phone, and that is why these calls are coming through after someone has passed away. So rather than, it's not so much that the deceased is making a phone call, but rather it's their earnest, deep intention that they want to reach their loved ones after dying so tragically, that leads to these mysterious phone calls coming through. Either way, that's pretty spooky, pretty wild. Yeah, I try to put myself into the shoes of those family members, and I like to think that I would be comforted knowing that this person's trying to contact me from the afterlife, knowing that the afterlife does exist and that they are in the afterlife. Or maybe I would just be spooked out. I have not experienced this. Have you experienced anything like this? Let me know. let me know. And I think we're about down to our last clip. So let me go ahead and pull that up for you all. I do want to pause and say thank you, everyone, for joining me on this particularly disjointed episode tonight. If you're just joining or have just joined a little while ago, this is my third. No, this is my fourth recording today. It's my fourth recording today, and my brain is definitely a little bit fried. So thank you so much for bearing with me. This last clip would be, well, I would be remiss if I did not share something tonight that was UFO in nature. And this is trending. This has been all over the place. And this is the mysterious disc-shaped UFO captured by a military camera, and you can already see it right there. Now, unfortunately, this is a Fox News clip. I did not have an opportunity to isolate the individual clip, but look at this thing. Look at this thing moving through the clouds. This is another sort of, I think, a different filter on the camera. There it comes again. What in the world is that? Let's go back and watch that one more time. Perfectly circular. And here's the thing. Let's go back just a little bit. Let's go back to about there and pause it. My first thought when looking at this was, oh, it's something that's above the camera that's capturing this perfect shadow. But I quickly threw that out the window because if you watch, it's actually passing through the clouds. You see the clouds obscuring it. And so I tend to think that it's not a shadow. And then also, and I don't know if this is an artifact, but it appears to have some kind of like a ring of light around it. I don't know. Pretty wild stuff though. Let's watch that one more time. Let's go all the way back to the beginning. And here it comes. Look at that. Look at that. You see some other lights in that image too. Some other objects. I don't know if that's related. It's worth not ignoring. Here it comes again. Here it comes again. And let's do that one more time, just to see that one more time. What are those light objects? Here it comes. Here it comes. There it is. What in the world could that be? I mean, it still could be a shadow. It could be the top of a weather balloon or an air balloon. Or it could very well be a UFO. I mean, it is UFO because we don't know what it is. And, it's been confirmed by the Pentagon that it was a disc caught on military video. They don't know what it is. So if they're saying they don't know what it is, then I think we can definitively say it's an unidentified aerial phenomenon. I love footage like this. This is newer footage that just leaves you scratching your head. Are we being visited by beings from other planets, beings from other worlds? Are these trans-dimensional beings popping in to say hello, to check things out, to check out our planet? Boy, all I know is I want more. All I know is I want more. And like I've said many times, I want to believe that what we are seeing is bigger than our reality, that transcends that which we know, that we don't have the answers to, that we may someday have the answers to. And until then, I think it is only healthy that we as a society continue to speculate as to what these things might be, and to question our place on this planet, to question our place in this solar system, in this galaxy, in this universe. Let these unexplained phenomena not frighten us, but humble us, and hopefully one day unite us. Thank you so much for joining us for It Came to the Web. I almost made it, gang. Thank you so much for joining me for this episode of It Came from the Web. Thank you for, again, being part of the Don't Turn Around community, for your listens, for your subscribes. Share this and share Don't Turn Around with anyone who you think would enjoy the show. And with that being said, good night, and we'll catch you next time.